You are now listening to ADAMFOPA Radio Paris.
We inform.
Me need the Captain Smart. Me too quite be brave. Me too quite swam it here radio. So me buy you Titru France radio back penalty ADAMFOPA Radio.
We are talking about the man who was born today. Oh my God, have mercy. In 1936, Lieutenant General Akwesi Amankwa Afrifa. Oh my God. His life is going to touch you. And I need you to open your ears with rapt attention and listen. Now, there was a head of state of Ghana called Akwesi Amankwa Afrifa, A.A. Afrifa. And he was Adontin Hini. And at the same time, he also held chieftaincy titles in some other places. My brother, my sister, he won the elections as an MP for Mampong. Ashanti Mampong. But before he could go to parliament, he was executed. My God. Listen. The only president in the world, or the only head of state in the world, who ever became an MP was A.A. Afrifa. From being the president or the head of state of a country, and now you descend and become an MP. The MP that never happened, he won it all right. But before he could go into parliament, he was arrested by Mr. J.J. Rawlings and shot and killed. Today, we are going to recount the story. And you know what you have to do. All you need to do is to open your ears and listen with rapt attention. My brother, my sister, he was given the title Oketechie by Otumfuo himself. Why did Otumfuo call him Oketechie? And Oketechie simply means a hero, a warrior hero. My brother, my sister, he was also the Abakomahene of Krobo in Ashanti Mampong, traditional area of the Ashanti region. My brother, my sister, with your permission, can I just trunk into the story? Amankwa Akwesi Afrifa was born today in 1936, and he was born in Mampong. He was born in Mampong, Ashanti. Today, the 24th day of April in 1936, Ashanti Mampong, in the Ashanti region of Ghana. Oh my God. He was born today in 1936. He was born to a father by name Openyin Kweku Amankwa, and his mother was called Amasewa Ameniampong. And they were both from Krobo near Mampong in the Ashanti region. Oh my God. At a very young age, he told his father that he wanted to be a lawyer. And the father said, to be a lawyer, you have to read all the books in the world. And before you finish reading all the books, you will lose your eyesight. In other words, you can't see well, you will get blind. You would have to wear glasses. All lawyers wear glasses. There's not one single lawyer who doesn't wear glasses. Are you ready for that? He said, yes. The way I like justice, I want to be a lawyer. So then you have to study hard. My brother, my sister, with the intention of being a lawyer, his father decided to take him to the local Presbyterian boys boarding school in Mampong. And that was where he started his basic education. And then he did so well in school. And from there, He continued with his secondary education at the Adisadel College in Cape Coast in the Central Region. From 1952 all the way till 1957, when the Gold Coast became Ghana. My brother, my sister, from 1952, when he went to Form 1 at Adisadel College, until he got to class Form 5, he was expelled because they said academically he was not good and he failed the exams, and for that reason he had to be expelled. They expelled him, and when he got back home, his father laughed. Opinion Kweku laughed and said, so super say we a lawyer. Who can say a lawyer no agro? You want to be a lawyer, you think being a lawyer is easy? You see, you have not even read a quarter of the books. And see, you have already gone blind. I told you go blind. It's okay, my son. If you couldn't make it in school, you can make it elsewhere. What do you want to do now? He said, well, I don't know anything. I have to try again. He said, try what? Go to the army. And then he decided to go to the army. The same year in 1957, when he was expelled from Adisadel College in Cape Coast. Hey, immediately he got to the army. They liked the way he was, tall and handsome looking, very athletic. Oh my God. They took him in. They took him in quickly. Once they took him in, my God, he started his training. He attended the Defense College right there in Teshi in Accra. After he joined the Ghana Armed Forces. Oh my God. And then he had the opportunity to also serve in the United Nations operations in Congo. He went all the way to study in England in 2 different institutes for military training in the United Kingdom. Oh my God. He worked very hard. He worked very hard because he knew that he had failed academically and now he had to be a soldier and he couldn't fail. His father told him, you see, even by being a soldier, you can still be a lawyer. Just make sure that you graduate, make sure that you are in a good position, and you can still read and become a lawyer. So he went to the army to prove himself. After his, in fact, training in Kumasi, they also brought him to Accra to train at Teshi. He went all the way to the Mons Officer Cadet School in Aldershot in England in 1958, a year after he joined the army. He then completed officer training at the Royal Military Academy in Sandhurst in England in 1961. Then he went all the way to the School of Infantry in Heights in the United Kingdom. Oh gosh. And he returned home as Oketechie Ampa. My God. Afrifa became a very powerful soldier in the Ghana army. Yes. Under Kwame Nkrumah, he worked very, very hard. Oh my God. And my God have mercy, when he was in Kumasi, where Kwame Nkrumah sent him to be the commander of the 1st Battalion. Oh my God. It was his happiest moment. He became the trainer of soldiers. He had a great training in the UK. Now he was training Ghanaian soldiers right here in Ghana. Whilst in Kumasi, he met the soldier from Alakple in the Volta region near Nogbokpo, Emmanuel Kwesi Kotoka. When he met him, Kotoka indoctrinated him. At that time, Kotoka was a senior officer who had tested a lot of these international conflicts. From the UN, he went all the way to Rwanda. He was also in Congo, where he got a lot of awards And when he returned, he was the soldier of soldiers. People respected him so much. Kotoka, he was a colonel, the commander of the 2nd Infantry Brigade. And he sat our hero for today down, Amankwa Kweku Afrifa, and told him, you know, the country is going bad right now. Everybody is crying. This was 1966. At this time, Kwame Nkrumah had become quite unpopular. The CIA and America had made sure that the Cold War that they had with the East affected Kwame Nkrumah as well, because Kwame Nkrumah at that time said, and it became a very popular speech, that we neither face the West nor the East. We face forward always. And America did not like it. But Kwame Nkrumah was getting more and more close to China and Russia. And America decided to bring Kwame Nkrumah down, because Kwame Nkrumah at this time was the president of Africa, the unofficial president of Africa. Every African leader looked up to Kwame Nkrumah. He got the first independence for our people south of the Sahara. Nkrumah was becoming unpopular. America had made it difficult for Kwame Nkrumah to be able to provide food for his people. The Cold War was on. The prices of cocoa had plummeted to the lowest level, and Kwame Nkrumah made a lot of money from the cocoa. Now the cocoa was nothing. In fact, America actually introduced another kind of cocoa, which was not proper cocoa, but made it so cheap that it outcompeted with the Ghana cocoa. My God! So now Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana was broke, and at the same time Kwame Nkrumah had announced and made himself president for life. And there was only a one-party state in this country. All these things made Kwame Nkrumah quite unpopular. And then, of course, the detention without trial. That is the Preventive Detention Act of 1958. Hey! So, Kotoka told Afrifa, listen, we have to do something to save our people. Nkrumah has messed up. We gave him the chance. He sacked Akukosa. He did this. He did that. He did this. He even sacked Ankara. And Ankara is so embittered, he's ready to shoot Kwame Nkrumah anytime. We have tried a number of times to kill him, but his juju from Ekanka is helping him. Can we just come together and, as soldiers, not sit down in disgrace and see the country go down like the way Nkrumah is doing it? And Afrifa said, oh, you are right. I will support you. He got the help of Afrifa. And at that very moment, Kwame Nkrumah announced that soldiers should get ready to go to Rhodesia, because Ian Smith's minority rule, racist rule, was hurting the people of Zimbabwe, at that time called Rhodesia. And Mugabe had begun to fight as a guerrilla fighter. You see why Mugabe loved Ghana and even came to Ghana to marry a Ghanaian woman? Nkrumah was sending Ghanaian soldiers to Rhodesia to help Mugabe fight and liberate the country from the iron hands of Ian Smith. And it was Afrifa and Kotoka who came up with the idea. You know what? Now that Nkrumah says we should go to Rhodesia, and I am the commander of the 1st Infantry Brigade, and you are the commander of the 2nd Infantry Brigade, let us carry all the soldiers from Kumasi to Accra on the pretext that we are there to train them. Attention, Nkrumah would understand, and before he realizes, we'll get the soldiers to shoot and kill and remove Nkrumah from power. Oh, good idea. So 99% of all the soldiers who were carried from Kumasi all the way to Accra for that coup d'etat, remember we told you that on this program before, did not know that it was a coup d'etat they were going for. They thought they were going for training so that they could go to Rhodesia, now called Zimbabwe, to fight alongside Mugabe to liberate the people from bondage and suppression. My brother, my sister, Afrifa, our hero for today, and Kotoka carried all the soldiers from Kumasi, came all the way to Accra, based in Teshin. At that time, Nkrumah had taken off for Hanoi, which was the capital of North Vietnam, for a peacekeeping something. And I don't want to go too much into it. We've talked about this over and over. It was a ploy by the American president and the CIA to get Nkrumah out, because Kotoka, even though it was from Alakple and very close to Nogokpo, was still scared of Nkrumah's supposed juju. Listen attentively. Kotoka boasted that he had the juju that was enough to make the whole of Ghana sleep. But he was scared of Kwame Nkrumah's juju. So the whole Ghana army believed that Kotoka had juju, and if anybody was going to succeed in a coup against Kwame Nkrumah, it must be Kotoka. And true to their words, it took Kotoka to remove Kwame Nkrumah. But the juju man at Alakple told Kotoka that, listen, to be able to remove Nkrumah will be very impossible if Nkrumah still stays in this country. If he's out of this country, fine. So he communicated it with the CIA, and the CIA became very much insisting, in fact putting pressure on Kwame Nkrumah to leave. This is a whole lecture on this own. Let me not tempt myself to get into that lecture. At that time, Kwame Nkrumah was writing a book about the Congo, but he had to leave and go to Hanoi because they said a lot of things about him. And his secretary at that time also decided that Nkrumah should go. When Nkrumah left, the juju was broken, according to Kotoka. And he came down with Afrifa, opened the soldiers. The soldiers went to the broadcasting house, seized the broadcasting after killing some people, and then, including Bawa, you remember Bawa? General Bawa, and took over the GBC, and it was Ankara who announced that Nkrumah had been overthrown. That was when the soldiers realized that they had overthrown Nkrumah. My God, my brother, my sister. So Afrifa joined us with Kotoka. They were the two plotters of the coup against Kwame Nkrumah. And listen to what happened. Right after the coup, Ankara became the head of state of the Republic of Ghana. Kotoka took the back bench, but they were making money for themselves. My God. 2 years or so later, Kotoka himself was shot and killed at the place that we have, the Kotoka International Airport right now. His juju could not help him. A common soldier, in fact, and that soldier was from Ho. He also consulted his gods in Ho, and the Ho gods told him, oh, it is easy to take off this man. You know what you have to do? Bring the Agbaja group from Ho. When you bring the Agbaja group, don't worry about it. The moment you arrive, take plenty apeteshi. Drink apeteshi. Remember we talked about this in the African history class? You remember, don't you, students? They drank a lot of apeteshi. And the Agbaja group that they brought from, what is it called? Ho. In fact, the Agbaja group started dancing, because that was what the juju man had told them to do in order to be able to take down Kotoka.
Bazara mare mo kore le soji na wogu iwogu aye Bazara mare mo gare le soji na wogu iwogu aye Bazara mare mo kore le soji na wogu gare wogu aye Fire 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 Bazara mare mo kore le soji na wogu iwogu aye Bazara mare mo gare le soji na wogu
were dancing and drinking apetashi. My God, Kotoka came out and trying to find out what was happening. So much noise around. This soldier was called John. Soldier John came out and approached Kotoka and told Kotoka in his face, "Today is your end. Today is your end." Before Kotoka could touch his pistol, he was down and out. My God, Kotoka was shot and killed. My God, Kotoka was shot and killed, and the Ghana army was frightened because everybody believed that Kotoka had all the juju in the world. How come Kotoka was killed like that? When Afifa heard it, he said, "Yeah, my God, my mentor, Sama Juju has gone down just like that. My God." And when Ankara himself, who was the president or the head of state at that time, heard it, he couldn't believe it. Listen to what he said on that day.
Service inquiry have begun to investigate the circumstances leading to the murder of Lieutenant General Kotoka, Captain Aveva, Captain Buckle, and Sergeant Osei Grunchi. And also to establish as far as possible the origin and motive of this insurrection. We hope that these investigations now in progress will cover all possible aspects of the security of the state. Meanwhile, proceedings have begun to try by military tribunal those who have been identified as being directly responsible for the murder of Lieutenant General Kotoka. This trial will begin next week.
This trial will begin next week. By virtue of the fact that Afifa was part of the coup to overthrow Nkrumah, he became one of the people that got into government. My God have mercy. And they even made him the Minister of Trade and Finance. Afifa worked very hard. But Afifa was a big supporter of Buzia. So when Ankara, in fact, was implicated in a bribery scandal involving one Nigerian businessman called Francis Nzeribe. Francis Nzeribe was a Nigerian businessman who came all the way down to Ghana to bribe the whole head of state in order to get around some businesses from the Ghanaian people. When it was established that the whole head of state, Ankara, did that, he was fired. And when he was removed, they brought Afifa to take over. You know why? Ankara was part of the coup to take Nkrumah out. Kotoka was the master planner, and Afifa joined him with his ability to shoot from long range. Now, with the two of them out, in fact, Kotoka was killed, Ankara sacked. The only person who could become the head of state was Afifa. And before that, there was going to be elections. And they said that Ankara was already beginning to pay money around in order to influence the August 1969 elections to decide between him and Afifa. Now, Afifa became the head of state of Ghana in 1969. And when he became head of state, he said he would hand over the power, and he did, to Buzia. When Buzia became the head of state, oh my God, Afifa enjoyed. Because Buzia was his mentor. He loved Buzia. He got a lot of posts around, traveling around and doing a lot of work. He was a non-Buzia supporter. In fact, unfortunately, Busia was also overthrown by a champion. And when a champion overthrew him, 2 days later, they went for Afrifa. Because a champion was afraid that Afrifa might come to revenge the overthrow of Busia. So on the 15th of January 1972, I was not born yet. 2 years before I was born, Afrifa was arrested, and from January they held him on until December 1972, almost 1 year before they freed him. And when they freed him, Afrifa washed his hands off politics and went to establish a farm in Mampong, Ashanti. He was on his farm, large farm in Mampong. But in 1978, the Supreme Military Council, headed by a champion and his cohorts, they wanted to introduce a certain government called the Union Government, which Afrifa fought against. They wanted to be in power forever, the military, and organize students to fight against that. Oh my God. The following year, in the parliamentary elections, Afrifa decided to compete. And then he contested and won the seat for Mampong because he was from the royal family of Mampong. Or Tufo at that time even gave him the title of Ketechie because he handed over power to Busia without anybody telling him to do that. He became an MP on the 18th of June 1979 for a multi-party National Assembly elections. Oh my God. And when he became that, the same 79, Rawlings staged a coup d'etat and took over the whole country. And then, but before then, Afrifa had written a letter to a champion who had arrested him. And this was partly what the letter said. I feel greatly disturbed about the future after the government of Busia was overthrown. In order to discourage the military from staging coups in the future, how about if they line all of us up and shot us one by one? I do not certainly want to be arrested or given some sort of a trial and shot. But I would be a stupid general if I sit in the comfort of my farm and await the vengeance that is about to be unleashed on us. I will pray to take away the fear and confusion weighing on my mind now. That was what Afrifa wrote to a champion. He had seen how Ghana was going, coup d'etat after coup d'etat, how things were going, and he feared that another soldier might just come on and shoot all of them. And this was a prophecy. When Rawlings came, he arrested Afrifa on his farm, brought him out, oh my God, alongside other people that you know of already. They were trialed and they were found guilty of corruption, embezzlement, and using their positions to amass wealth. The investigations carried out were apparently incomplete, but they were all lined up and shot in broad daylight. Even though we're told by General Joshua Hamidu, a former chief of staff, defense staff, that he and Rawlings were against the shooting of former heads of states. But the courts wanted it and the soldiers wanted it, knowing what happened when they were in power. So all these people were shot and killed on the 26th day of June in 1979. Afrifa was shot at the Teshin shooting range alongside people like General Fred Akufu, a former head of state too, and Major General Robert Korte. In fact, including Colonel Roger Feli, Air Vice Marshal Georgia Boachi, and Rear Admiral Joy Amedumi. They were all killed when President Kufuor came into power on the 27th day of December 2001. Because families came together to ask He allowed the bodies to be exhumed and be buried properly, traditionally. Today we remember the great ADAMFOPA. He relinquished power. He was not shy to descend from the head of state to the MP. He stopped politics and went to till his farms. But they chased him onto the farms, trialed him hastily, shot and killed him. He was scared and he felt guilty that one day this would happen, and he took Rawlings to fulfill his own prophecy. ADAMFOPA wrote some books. In 1966 he wrote The Ghana Coup, 24 February 1966, which was published in London by Frank Cass. Find that book and read it. He said everything about it and the role he played. Today we remember ADAMFOPA. ADAMFOPA was a repentant soul. He didn't want to do politics anymore. He was still in his farms, but his own people encouraged him to stand for MP because they loved him. And true to their words, they voted massively for him, only for him to be denied the chance to become an MP. He was shot and killed on the 26th day of June in 1979. Today we remember you. And we say, Damil Fadue. Damil Fadue. Due ni amani unu. Oh. Unu nyamenko. Unu nyamenko. Unu nyamenko. And in the burden of knowledge, I ask you. Now that you know, what would you do? Be an any ole, mini oba fe. Yezunda kagane, mezaka yini. Ya mpabango, bokaya nu. Fifia enya, no kai na wo. Bana ehu, ebeden.